Oh, that's interesting.
What's happening?
I don't know. It's doing a weird thing with the camera.
Ah, hi, Fetty. Hello, Andre.
Sa- This-
Good to see everyone.
How are you?
Doing okay. Hanging in there. It's that season, everything's
Yeah,
really busy and back to back, but it's starting to calm down. Got a little bit of travel next month and then I'll be done for the year.
when you said like season, I thought you were going to say like, oh, cold flu season because that's the
Oh yeah,
season in Sweden.
that too. I've been lucky so far to escape that. Now that you bring it up, I better just put that on my calendar.
Yeah, I was sick last week, so like, okay, first round done, second one probably be February, March. So
Uh, yeah. And to DC, I think you had your share
Yeah, I
of.
had COVID.
oh,
Uh, and so immediately following the member summit, I was sick. And just went back to work on Monday. So yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And for us, it's the holiday season, so it's super busy and everybody's scrambling. There's lots of stuff to do. So yeah.
Of course. Of course. Well, I'm going to bring up at least what I put together as an agenda. I feel like I've been out of it for the last couple meetings. So we'll probably need to catch up on some of this stuff and figure out like where we are actionable. Let me go ahead and share. I'm always good at sharing the wrong screen. So let me know. You should be able to see the agenda.
I can see.
Cool. So I went back, I was looking at some of the recordings of the previous meetings and, I still have more to do on that, but spend a little bit of time trying to capture what you all have talked about. DC, you did an excellent job taking notes. But you can probably tell I just took the agenda from October 4th, but I believe that was a time when you had a member from Comcast join, right? Did you see?
Yes.
Could just for grins, can you catch us up on like what happened during that meeting, what you discussed? Because I think you decided just to do more of an open discussion then.
Right. And it was really a discussion about why he was looking at the CDF in general. And so it was much more of a, you know, an open discussion about what the benefits are, with what the promise of CD events look like, and why it's important to, be active in the particular groups that are here. We didn't cover things like, where we're planning to go, or other things that we're talking, other groups that are looking to join the CDF. And we didn't do a lot of future stuff. It was really about just um, what how they operated, what they were using, and how they were looking to make changes, and why they were looking at the CDF in general to do that.
Okay. Very cool. Maybe someone that might return and join the group regularly in the future. That would be awesome. So you had your agenda on that day. Do you mind if we just go through that again today and
Yeah,
catch us all up on?
Sure, there's not really much to catch up on.
Okay.
A lot of these things, like, because after that is like you and I were supposed to get together and try
Yep.
to do some work, and we haven't been able to do that. So that was really going to be the way that I could fill things in. Um, so unless you've made more traction outside of that with the member summit, I think the one connection that everyone should be aware of is that I am internally, we have other board members. We were all at the member summit, and one of the things that we were talking about and trying to figure out how to do is to use the collector that's in the open telemetry area of the Linux Foundation for CDF. So that was a conversation that we just started. But again, this is one of our busiest times of the year, so we're not going to be able to make much traction on, like, even figuring that out. But it is something that everyone is still interested in. I mean, we're still trying to finalize and get like the checks out. And so all of the things are still happening, but it is literally the busiest time of the year for us. So yeah, so that's all I got.
All right. Yes. A few meetings ago, the DC and I were going to get together and actually, just produce a first draft of this document, at
Yeah.
least get it started. It might have some TBDs in there, to-dos in there, but we need something started to point people to get more. I'm sure just you and I don't want to be the only contributors. So
Right. But
just
I
to
think
get
we
that
can
out
get something solid started, or
there.
if, anyone in the group wants to join, I think we can get something solid started if you have time. Like you mentioned that you were like towards the end of the year not traveling. Would you have
Yep.
time towards the end of the
Yep.
year? Okay.
This is actually a good time of year for me. A
Okay.
little less busy. So I can certainly front the effort there.
Well, and I still want to front it with you. It's not like I'm asking you to do something that I'm not willing to
Oh yeah,
do
yeah,
with
yeah.
you. Okay, awesome,
Just
awesome.
maybe more not, yeah, not together, but like when
Yes,
we're able to be able to
yes,
to
yes.
input. And same with you, Fatih and Andrea. Um, you know, we'd love to get comments and stuff as well when we start getting it together. So that's been on a holding pattern for quite a while. I would really like to see that get done. We have some other items too that we've kind of touched on, worked on, like the reference architecture. Has anyone of you talked with like Damian Curry anymore about this? Or I don't think we've moved much further than just our basic design that we had. Do you remember doing that together, Andrea?
Yeah, sorry, I'm in a very noisy environment. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
it's okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I plan to come back to this reference architecture for some time, but it's been very busy, so I didn't manage to yet. But I think it would be still be very interesting to finish the work of capturing the various capabilities and starting putting together some kind of diagram based on those.
Okay.
And then we could, talk to people like that easy, for instance, for the building and architecture, or our friends at Fidelity or SAS and support to get input and see how we can iterate that. So unfortunately this month is still very busy for me. But I should be able to get some work done on that after CityCon in Japan.
Okay. Feel free to ping the Slack. Let us know, if there's anything else that we can do to help, if there's any blockers. And I know we have like really basic diagram, but at what point do you think we're ready to just put it out there for comment? Because I feel like this might be something we could delay because we all, there's so much, right? There's so much that we could put in it. But just to get something started, like Fatih has recommended in the past, just to get something out there ready for comment. Maybe, I know this month, it sounds like this month and next probably is pretty busy for most. So maybe we can shoot for January or something to get it out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. We should get something simple out there and start iterating on that. Yeah, hopefully I will be able to work more on this in December.
Okay. I don't mean to speed through these. Fatih and Didisi, I think in past meetings, I just want to step back to the white paper just for a second. You had an interesting discussion about licensing and that this is something else that we might want to include in there. Talking about, reasons for why interoperability is important and how it might affect an organization when component license changes change, out from under you, and you've got to make some decisions there. So I think that was really good. Was there anything else that has come up recently for any of you that we might want to think of including?
Well, I think the white papers aside, with the maturity of CD events, we need a thing, and that's the going to become more of the meat of the problem, because you're building out. And I know that Fidelity is working on something, and the idea of talking to those guys and yeah, even if it's just for visualization, we need an example. I mean, we need a thing, because there's nothing that makes it sellable more than, oh yeah, no, look at that. And I do feel like with this on the CD events side, we have enough to kind of do visualization. Um, so that would be impactful. The licensing issue is a great overall topic for like why the CDF is important and what the Linux Foundation in general does is important. And one of the missions that is impacting me in this process is also trying to understand, like, okay, Linux Foundation, why are we set up the way we are? Because that's the other side of the question that, internally I'm dealing with, because the CDF, there are products in the CNCF that are CI based, of course, and just understanding like what goes where also helps with that whole licensing and structure thing, is just to understand like what is the promise of the pieces to fit together. Now, this group, we are aware that CD events is one of the ways that long term you can have that solid interoperability across the products, but then that also means like adoption across the entire Linux structure, or interested projects to kind of pull this off. And I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but the basic idea is that we're at a point where we need a thing, just something to point to, and that says, okay, this is how you visualize from a bunch of different events.
So in terms of CD events and visualization, there are a couple of things maybe that I can mention. So, I mean, there is one effort that was started by Ericsson folks within the CD events working group to kind of build Grafana-based dashboards to visualize events.
Yes.
So that's something that we hope we can use in future for proof of concept and things like that. The other thing is I've had some conversation at QCon last week with the folks from the Canoe.io. And they are definitely very interested in city events. Because basically for them, the idea is that they have something like what we are discussing in terms of reference architecture, but in the IDP space, so internal development support space. And they have also like a reference implementation they're building, but they have specific tools that they want to include, because that's what they use in the companies that the people that use channels use, so things like RCD, crossplay, backstage. But they want to have the ability of, you know, consumers of Cano.io to switch tools. And so that's why the interoperability store is very important to them. And they think that city events could be like a good way of addressing this. And so they're happy. Basically, they propose to help us also drive integration of city events in tools like Argo, because with Argo, what is one of the tools they include there. And then they would use basically city events as a way to surface this information that is produced by the different tools into the backstage portal.
Andrea, can you repeat again the project name?
It's Canoe, CNOE, I think.
Oh,
Canoe? No, it's all capital
CN.
letters, CNOE, and then .io.
Okay. I'm not
And
familiar with that one.
yeah, I had talked to them a couple of weeks before, and they were saying that they wanted to use CD events. They were going on and on about how well they knew Andrea. It was super awesome. So awesome. I'm glad there was some follow through with that. That really helps.
Very cool.
So what I was getting there is, in terms of visualization, is that I think the backstage portal might be a good tool. And if once we have that kind of integration, that we could plug in all the new implementation and adoption that we get and use it to, you know, showcase city events.
Okay. So I just want to open this up. We do talk a lot about CD events in this interest group. And it's great. I appreciate that. But I also don't want to I want to make sure we're not like redundant or doing the same efforts as the CD events project. So yeah, getting like regular updates of what's going on there. I think that's super important. But do you have an opinion on whether or not we should try to keep the discussion open? Like CD events is one possibility of interoperability. I just want to make sure we don't close the door on any other ideas that might come up.
I don't think that you know, talking about CD events, if CD events is our current backbone for interoperability, I don't feel it's an inappropriate conversation for this group. It's the same issue that I was getting at with the greater Linux Foundation setup, is like we do need, you know, coordination and communication between the groups, because again, it's like the collector issue. Like we need some way to have an event bus or a collector that can take be actionable about it. It shouldn't necessarily all have to fall on the CD event SIG to do all of that, especially if they're working on definitions, you know, in coordination with different groups. I would hope at least that we're, you know, supportive of each other, trying to work towards the same goal. And again, if that is an issue, I'm more than happy to say, hey, let's just shift it all over there, and then interoperability can focus on something else. But that was definitely a part of what I thought that this SIG was about, is trying to figure out how to work on just staying ahead to keep that promise alive and have options and ways to do things and solutions and people working on other projects to kind of make this all come together.
Do either of you, Fatih or Andre, have any opinions? I mean, I love talking about CD events. I do. I just want to make sure that our discussions here don't get lost. You know, and we're just doing the same thing that CD events group is already doing. If that's the case, then we probably do need to reconsider what our objectives here are. But if we want to focus on CD events specifically for all of these items, for, you know, considering visualization, considering metrics.
Oh, and
that
again,
is-
I don't think we're not saying we're limited to, but like that's what we have now. And you know, a part of the relevance is to be able to kind of produce something and a direction so that people can suggest better ideas and better ways to do things, right? And this is one of the things that Andrea and I talked about during the member summit. And like I'm super critical of myself about how much I talk about CV events. I'm excited about it, knowing that it's not really like I really didn't do much other than say, here's Ben. So, you know, but I am passionate about it, and I am passionate about, well, this can actually do this thing because all the primitives are there and everybody's working on it. But again, if I am more concerned about us feeling like the CD event SIG feeling like, hey, you guys are, you know, doing too much, then I am worried about other people being able to come with other ideas, because people will come with other ideas as soon as we have something to show, and then they're like, oh no, you should do this thing. That's going to happen naturally. We'll get other ideas, but as long as there's nothing there and we have a thing, we've got to promote, you know, put our energy into something. At least that's my feeling. And then you guys can, you know,
Yeah. Any other comments on that? I think my only concern, like haven't been a part of CD event SIG, so I just want to make sure like we can support as well as we can, but I'm not going to be privy completely on what all is going on over there already. So I'll need your help with that for sure.
Yeah, I obviously biased towards city events as well. Trying to have city events eating the word. But I mean, the discussion we have in the city events working group are definitely focused more on the, you know, the protocol itself, protocol features, and city events features, and implementation with other projects. And so there tends to be rather technical on the project or on the SDKs or things like that. So we don't
Okay.
have any work happening, but we don't have bandwidth even for things like a white paper or reference architecture and those kind of activities. And my hope is that this group can, you know, provide like a nice context where the city events can live, and hopefully along with other ideas that will come in the future as well. Because city events is not going to solve all the problems. But yeah, I agree also with Adisi, that's what we have now. So I'm happy to, you know, spend some extra cycles on
Awesome.
that. But
No, that's super helpful because I wasn't sure like how much we're overlapping. So it sounds like we definitely have a place to be kind of the umbrella and you know, be able to talk, you know, about the context of using CD events and not so much about the technical part of it. I'll tend to get into like, I want to jump right to implementation, right? So stop me if I start going too far down that path as well. All right. So when we talk about visualization, like in the scope of the interoperability group, having these conversations with other projects is really helpful. Thanks, Andrea, for talking about that. Is there anyone who can we, so the Grafana-based dashboard that Erickson, that was mentioned, is there anyone who might want to talk to us more about that as a group? Is there like a contact? There, I don't have much information, just it exists.
yeah, I think I mean Adam and Andrew from Ericsson have been working on that. I can share the contact details.
Awesome.
So we have a repository that has been set up on the event site.
Okay.
But right now that's pretty much. Sorry, there are not many things in it, but I think there is a PR. So, and I think we have a demo that was recorded, but I need to. Yeah, I'll find the link and share it. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah, just something to go look at later. Cool. All right. Anything on metrics that we can talk more about, or anyone have any conversations with anyone interesting recently about that? Nada. All right, any value stream conversations going on out there? Okay.
No, I mean, Steve from the value stream group kind of put us on hold after the last meeting, said that they were looking into two things and that they would reach out basically when they were ready to continue conversation with us. Yeah, I probably need to ping them to see how things are going, and if they're still looking to continue collaboration with us. Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of the things on my.
We all have a lot of to-do lists. I know it's tough. All right. Anything else we want to discuss while we're all here? Okay. I kind of want to plan our next meeting. We've done a few of these pretty ad hoc. We show up and talk about whatever, which is awesome. I mean, it is, but we're going to come up with on holiday season here. So do you want to kind of, let's go ahead and give some people a heads up now when we might be taking a break. I think last year we took a break mid-December through mid-January. Do we want to do that again this year? I'll bring up the calendar. We have, let's see, we've got a meeting on the 7th of December and the 21st. Do we want to keep the December 7th one? That's the next one. And then maybe not the 21st.
I'm around for both, so I'm fine with both, but I will, go with the consensus of the group. I'm taking the week off after the Thanksgiving week. And so, but yeah. And while I'm going home to Maryland, I'm actually going to visit a couple of the college hospitals while I'm there. So I was going to have conversations about the greater CD stuff while I'm talking to people, but that's more like just because I'm there and they are like, hey, come check out our hospitals. But yeah, whatever you guys want to do, I'm fully supportive of.
Any strong opinions from either of you, Ati and Andrea?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be traveling back from Japan on the 7th.
Okay.
And I will be on holiday on the 21st. So unfortunately, I won't be there. Either. I think it's 2 days. Yeah.
All right. And what does January look like for everyone? Are you on holidays? Are you back in full force? Yeah. We have the 4th and the 18th.
I think I'll be back on the 4th. So on the 4th, I might be still traveling. I'm not sure if I'm traveling back on the 4th or the 1st. And then I'm fully back.
Okay. Fatih, do you have any
I think
opinion?
4th is school holiday in Sweden, so I probably won't be able to join on 4th, but 18th should work fine.
Okay. I'm going to propose that we do not meet on the 21st of December and January 4th. Does that sound good for all of us? Okay, I'll go ahead and cancel those on the calendar in advance so folks know. And then for our next meeting on the 7th, do we want to just meet again for an open discussion if there's any, any work anymore? Again, I know we're all busy, so we'll see how far we can get between now and the next meeting, but perhaps I can go ahead and get like a draft started that we can all start commenting on for the white paper.
I will be around, but I'll just be coming off of my vacation for Thanksgiving. That's actually when I do take a small break.
Okay.
So yeah, but like I said, I'm just it's if you I do have time to like if you want to like, chat or like you started and like I can comment that I will have a computer with me. It's not like I'm without a computer, and most of that is just chilling with my family who so more than happy to jump in. And it'll be a lot less work noisy for me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
same here. It'd be much nicer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll ping you all on Slack when things get started and when I need some help to move further. And then we can definitely talk about progress next time. All right. Anything left?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Want to say anything else? Are
Happy
you all?
Thanksgiving.
What's that?
Happy Thanksgiving. It is next week, yeah?
Yeah. This
Yes.
next week.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
Happy
nice.
Thanksgiving.
Climate job anyway.
No
Well, I'm
turkeys will be
thankful
safe.
for all of you. I've been
Yes,
thinking a
very
lot about
thankful
what
for all
I'm
of you.
thankful this week. It's a good practice. I probably should do it more often. All right. Well,
Oh, folks.
thanks for meeting and we'll talk again later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.